all you need to know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business. Good morning. You're listening to the Daily Morning Update from Bloomberg Quint, and I'm Alex Matthew. Today is the 12th of December. The big news first. The Federal Reserve in the United States of America left interest rates unchanged and signaled it would stay on hold throughout 2020, keeping it on the sidelines in an election year, while also opening the possibility that it might buy short-term coupon-bearing securities to ease money market strain. Chairman Jerome Powell said the economic outlook of the U.S. remained favorable despite global developments and ongoing risks. He went on to say that as long as incoming information about the economy remained broadly consistent with this outlook, the current stance of monetary policy would remain appropriate. U.S. stocks halted a two-day slide as the central bank's decision led to speculation that the bar for an increase in interest rates remains high. Stocks in the Asia-Pacific region were mixed at the start, though. Of the three early rises, the Nikkei 225 in Japan was flat, while the Kospi in South Korea had gains of nearly 1%. Aussie stocks were losing nearly 0.6% last I checked. Now, later today, you'll also have the latest industrial production and retail inflation data being released back here in India, so watch out for that. In the meanwhile, let's talk about the big news from back home. Parliament yesterday approved the Citizenship Amendment Bill 2019 as it passed the test in the Rajya Sabha. It's a controversial bill that has caused violent protests in northeast India and which has been fiercely resisted by opposition parties. The legislation provides citizenship to Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis and Christians who illegally migrated to India from Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan. Muslims are excluded from this list. The bill will now go to President Ramnath Kovind and once it receives his assent will become a law. The Indian government has approved changes to the partial credit guarantee scheme that was introduced in Budget 2019-20 to allow state-run banks to buy lower-rated assets from non-bank lenders. Public sector banks will now be allowed to buy assets that are rated BBB+, which are held by non-banking financial companies, against the earlier rule that only AA-rated assets will get the benefit of the partial guarantee scheme being offered by the government. The Union Cabinet has approved the Second Amendment to the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of 2016 that seeks to streamline the corporate insolvency resolution process and protect a successful resolution applicant from criminal proceedings against offences committed by previous managements or promoters of the corporate debtor. You'll find all the details of that development in the story on the website bloombergquint.com. Anand Mahindra, the chairman of Mahindra & Mahindra, has admitted that entering the commuter bike segment more than a decade ago was a failure on the part of the group. This was reported by PTI based on comments that he made at an event organized by Virgin Atlantic. Indian bonds, which are the worst performer this month among Asian peers, may fall even further, with no let-up in the bad news weighing on investors. The benchmark 10-year bond was sold heavily last evening after S&P Global Ratings warned of a downgrade, dealing a blow to already weak sentiment. The Reserve Bank of India's shock hold on rates had sparked the worst weekly fall in bond prices in more than 1.5 years. The yield on the 10-year benchmark bond ended at 6.76% yesterday. With that, it's over to Agam Vakil for the trade setup for the day in India.
Good morning, Alex, and good morning, listeners. Well, yesterday we saw a bout of short covering towards the end of the trading session, and it does seem that that short covering could very well lead into the markets advancing today, and that is certainly the indication of the SGX Nifty future. So we are expecting a positive start to the trading session. But let's start by talking about a handful of stocks which will be in focus, and of course Yes Bank is set to have plans to club other offers from investors before reaching a final decision decision. That is what we understand, and this is of course reported by Bloomberg. Moving on to Vodafone Idea, it has clarified on the news of the company selling some assets to Brookfield and Edelweiss, and the company has denied such negotiations taking place between the aforementioned parties. And we also have Prestige Estates, which is in focus, which is considering raising funds on December 14th. That is when they will take that decision and of course let us know about the route through which they will be raising funds. Ujjivan Financial Services is also in focus as the government of Singapore acquires about 0.5% stake in the company at 342 rupees per share. Bharti Airtel has reported that the merging of DTH operations with Dish TV are speculative in nature. And moving on to GMR Group, where the GMR Airports is considering funds raising worth 250 crores via bonds. And finally, we have another debutant today. We will have Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. Well, list on the bosses. Don't forget that it was subscribed 166 times. So we're certainly expecting some sort of a premium to the issue price. So we'll be watching out for that one as well. Well, these are just some of the stocks that you can watch out for today in terms of your trading session. But don't forget to go through our morning edition of All You Need to Know only on BloombergQuint.com.
Thanks, Agam. Well, that's all we have for you on this podcast, but there's a lot more on the website BloombergQuint.com, so don't forget to check it out. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you could listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma. Or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.